Okay, gotcha.
Hi there, good morning. Morning everybody, welcome.
Welcome, Wamkelekile, IHS. You may be seated. A very warm welcome to all our qualifiers. It's so wonderful to be present here today and to be able to celebrate again as an entire cohort of qualifiers. To family and friends, we give you a very warm welcome. To staff and all of our academics, thank you so much for joining. And then to our special guests, a very warm welcome to Ms. Aisha Toya, who's our guest speaker today, to Chief Aitchumau Mackenzie, to Chief Roger Francis, to Chief Sandra Green, to Chief Ibis Koopman, who's visiting from the Northern Cape, and to Headman Joe Darmons. We're very grateful for our traditional leaders who've joined us here this morning to bless the ceremony today. We also are very grateful for our sponsor names, our Bongani Mayosi Medical Students Prize, Prof. Nonhlanhla Kumalo, Mr. Harun Ibrahim, who will be in absentia awarding the Ibrahim Memorial Prize, Mr. and Mrs. Peter Chubb, who will be in absentia awarding the Dr. Kathy Chubb Memorial Prize, and then to Ms. Pindilo Demane, who will be awarding the South African Speech Language Hearing and Audiology Association Prize, and to Mrs. Lucretia Peterson, who will be awarding the SA Association of Audiologists Prize, Ms. Hanska Fleringa, who will be awarding the Occupational Therapy Association of South Africa Prize. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Colleagues, we'll be starting with the awards ceremony, and we'll then be progressing to the orchestral music item, and we're very grateful to have our quartet from our faculty orchestra. Our faculty orchestra is made up of both staff and students of the faculty, and we're very grateful to have them here, particularly for the students who are here in holiday time already, so we're very grateful to them. We'll then be moving on to the guest speaker and the blessing from our traditional leaders. I'll then be reading out a special message from the Dean. For those of you who are aware, you won't see Professor Lionel Green-Thompson up on stage because right now he is busy congratulating his son who is graduating today in Johannesburg. So he sends special messages to us. And then we will take the very special part of the ceremony that you hear today as you enter the professions that you are going to be qualifying in. And so we will take the oath at that point. So that's the sequence of events for today. So we will start off with with some recognition, and then with the departmental prizes, followed by the class medals, followed by the general faculty prizes. So the first recognition that we'd like to recognize today, and I'm going to read out their names, and these ones, they won't be aware that we're reading out their names, so I'd just like you to stand where you are, and then I'll read out the citation, and we will congratulate those. So these will be final year MBChBs. Anisa Kathri, Anzachilidze Chivaze, Ashmika Singh, Cara Dunn, Catherine Johnson, please stand, Chanel Pretorius, Darshana Govender, Esron Nokwane, Ethan McKay, Faith Luayo, Gabrielle Long, Glenda Watt, Haja Kada, Hazy Young, Hizkil Thundia, Ilani Chrobler, Jenna Smith, Jordan Lowe, Joshua Goldberg, Joshua Van Sale, Julia Josephs, Kaylee Peterson, Keisha Muller, Lee Jung-woo, Lerato Sarah Mokwena, Linda Cousins, Makaziwe Mtungana, Megan Bunting, Melissa Jones, Michael Scram, Michaela Hannah Simmons, Mungatane Shaku, Moya Abers, Nadia Arendt, Nadia Franks, Nasira Abrams, Niloufar Hassan, Nevin George, Nicola Embling, Nicola Wenzel, Nokubunga Valencia Mlotra, Peter Walker, Pumzila Makari, Prajna Chauthi, Kawekazi Mbalekwa, Razana Manuel, Rebecca Haynes, Renat John, Ruben Umpires Duran, Samir Sahedeo, Samukele Luzulane, Sinazo Vanka, Sinead McKenna, Sipesihle Hadebe, Sipokazi Ngubo, Sinwabo Gladys Uswige, Tammy Dixon, Tegan Engel, Tiara Govender, Tiara Maharaj, Tsakene Hadebe, Chekofatso Masenya, Zahida Razak. Colleagues, before we award, let me tell you what we're congratulating them for. These students completed the full vaccinator program, where they completed not only the vaccinator course, but in fact contributed significantly to the vaccination, the COVID vaccination of the population of the Western Cape, and particularly the broader Cape Town, but also those in George. And so we just wish to thank you, and we have certificates for you to be please collect at the end. So we're awarding this in recognition of the contribution to vaccinate and educate residents of the Western Cape, reducing morbidity and mortality, as well as the burden on health services thereby mitigating the effects of the COVID pandemic. Thank you so much. And colleagues, this was quite significant because, in fact, for the past 2 years, we've only been able to hold the ceremony with masks on and in smaller cohorts and physically distanced. So we're incredibly grateful for that contribution to vaccination that has allowed us to be seated here today in a congregation. We're now going to move on to the class representatives. And just to recognize those, so I'm going to be reading out the class representatives, and I just don't see the class reps on my list. So could I ask the certificates just to come to me quickly? I'm first of all actually just going to remind you how to progress up the stairs and receive your certificate and demonstrate and be able to stand ready for the photographer. So Nizam, one of our colleagues, is going to demonstrate for us, and Professor Dandara, who is the postgraduate deputy dean, is going to be handing out. So you'll ascend up the left-hand side, and you'll stand over there. Congratulate and stand for the photograph, and then exit down the right and down. So I'll call out the names, and if you can please stand on the left-hand side, and Nizam will head you up the stairs as needed. All right. Yeah. So for their contribution to the Faculty of Health Sciences in their capacity as class representatives for the Year 4 Audiology class, Eugene Machusa and Linda Kuhle Mbele. Going to give them both to you. Okay. Please come up to the front. I'm going to read out all of the class reps, and then we can congratulate them all at the end. To the Speech-Language Pathology class of 2022, Richinka Dionarian and Tessa Jenkins. That goes underneath. Yeah, so Bobby's starting there. To the Occupational Therapy class, Ellen Dawson, Alyssa Duplessis. Mapule Makoto and Hanan Ahmadine. I'll read out the physio class representatives. You can come up in the meantime. Keenan Dreyer, Rebecca Hofmeyer, Keenan Dreyer and Rebecca Hofmeyer. And then for the Year 6 class of MBChB, Shalom Brown, Anissa Cathry, Gawe Mbalekwa, sorry Gawe, Sabira Pandi. We're now going to start with the departmental prizes for the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders. For audiology and speech-language pathology, we're going to ask Ms. Pendile Demane from the SLHA to come forward. Ms. Lucretia Peterson and Dr. Michael Harty will be presenting these prizes. The A.B. Clemens Award, awarded by the South African Speech, Language and Hearing Association for the student who obtains the highest mark for the research report submitted in the final year of study, provided that a minimum of 75% is obtained. I'm going to ask all to come forward: Alexander Burford, Richinka Dionarian, Kelly Harvey, Truly Keswa, and Monique Morris. The P. de V. Pinard Prize, awarded by the South African Speech, Language and Hearing Association for the best speech-language pathology student who has maintained the highest academic standard over 4 years, provided a minimum average of 75% has been obtained throughout the program, Jenna Thompson. The Susan Swart Prize for the best audiology student who has maintained the highest academic standard over 4 years, provided a minimum average of 75% has been obtained throughout the program, Zoe Kutsia. The SA Association Audiologist Prize for the most improved final year performance in communication, counseling, and interpersonal skills in the audiology program, Fair Chitea. The South African Speech Language Hearing Association Prize for the best final year student in audiology clinical, provided an average of at least 75% has been obtained, Shakil Shiraz. The South African Speech Language Hearing Association Prize for the best final year student in speech language pathology clinical, provided an average of at least 75% has been obtained, Tessa Jenkins. The Department of Occupational Therapy prizes presented by Hanske Fleringa and Prof. Helen Buchanan. If you'd like to come forward. The Occupational Therapy Association of South Africa final year research project annual award. This award is presented yearly to the student group who has generated the best performing research project within the final year BSc Occupational Therapy cohort for the University of Cape Town. Group 1, Ellen Dawson, Haim Lee, Casey Naveen, Angie Miller, Alyssa Duplessis, Irene Nolt. And Group 2 will be Chiara Perimel, Kayla Schaefer, Bianca Rosenboom, Sarah Philpott, Jamie Murray. And another round of applause for these research groups. Thank you. The Practice Learning Merit Award for the Best Final Year BSc Occupational Therapy Student in Practice Learning, Joanna Nelson. The Occupational Therapy Cluster Prizes, which is 5 awards in one for work practice. 5 awards. So the first is for work practice, the student who demonstrated innovation and excellence in the delivery of OT services within the area of work practice. They demonstrated an in-depth understanding of the South African labor context, the ability to engage and get buy-in from all stakeholders, to venture outside of the confines of the site, and to advocate for the rights of people with disabilities and marginalized communities to work. Andrew Johnson in absentia and Kiara McNamara. Oh, you're here. The Occupational Therapy Child Learning, Development and Play Award, awarded to the student who has demonstrated a natural ability to engage with children, drawing on their understanding of the child as an occupational being and using play as a means to promote their engagement in childhood occupations, Ishika Cupido. The, the Occupational Therapy Community Development Practice for the student who contributed substantially to facilitating change processes in collaboration with an organization or group, demonstrating the capacity to critically reflect on their own positionality and engaging authentically with partners in addressing the health and social needs of a community, Erin Young and Nolutando Mdunge. The Occupational Therapy Award for Physical Health Practice for the student who demonstrated excellent reflection on the development of professional identity using a digital story in physical health practice, Tessa Stevenson. And the last Occupational Therapy Prize for Mental Health Practice for the student who demonstrated the ability to integrate personal, theoretical, and professional dimensions toward recovery with persons who present with mental health challenges. The student is able to show the use of self as therapeutic tool and the ability to act as agent of change in the practice context. Sarah Philpott. And then the Department of Physiotherapy, Professor Neri Naidu will be presenting the Johannes Carl Wilhelm Binnenwald Trophy for the best final year student in clinical physiotherapy, Deborah DuPont. The Paget Physiotherapy Award for the student achieving the highest academic standard during the 4 years of BSc physiotherapy study, as well as the South African Society for Physiotherapy Best Overall Student in Final Year BSc Physiotherapy. Both awards go to Megan Preston. The departmental prizes for the MBChB program. These will be handed out by Professor Kamala Pillay. The Anesthesia Prize for the final year MBChB student with the highest overall aggregate in anesthesia based on their combined performance in the 4th and 6th year end-of-block anesthesia examinations, weighted equally, Jessica Gleason. The Dawi Dunn Memorial Prize for the best 6th year student, MBChB student in pediatrics, Huda Abrams. The Dr. Kathy Chubb Memorial Prize for the final year MBChB student, preferably female, who has shown excellent overall performance in the fields of pediatrics and surgery and recognized dedication to the practice of medicine, Irma Carberg. The divisional prize for the top student in forensic pathology is shared by Nicola Wenzel and Rebecca Haynes. The H.S. Ibrahim Memorial Prize, awarded on the results of the 3rd, 4th, and 6th year MBChB examinations in hematology, with the final result being decided by an oral examination if required. This medal is awarded to Cara Dunn. The Dr. Helen Brown Prize for the 2nd best final year student in clinical medicine, Joshua Goldberg. Don't go too far down the stairs. And then for the Wilfred Exner Bauman Memorial Prize, Joshua, you can stay on stage, is shared between the best results in final year medicine in MBChB, Joshua Goldberg and Peter Walker. There we go. The Cuthbert Crichton Prize for the best student in obstetrics and gynecology in the final MBChB examinations, Zahida Razak. We've had 2 students from the George program, the gardenery program, so congratulations to the students there. The SA Society of Psychiatrists Award, the most distinguished final year MBChB student in psychiatry, Giandre Malherbe. To the Family Practice Primary Care Prize, the best student in final year MBChB Primary Healthcare, Gregory Kuhn. The South African Academy of Family Practice, the top student in final year MBChB Family Medicine, Chun Ting Lee. To the Faculty of Health Sciences Surgery Prize, the final year MBChB student who has shown the greatest promise in surgery in the final MBChB examination, Nicola Embling. The J.H. Lowe Prize in Surgery for the most distinguished student in the final MBChB surgical examination, Nicole Wenzel. And now on to the medals. Thank you so much to the presenters. We're going to ask Dr. Michael Harty to come forward for the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders class medals. For the 4th year class medal, the class medal awarded for the best performance year, provided an average of 75% or above is obtained. For speech language pathology, Jenna Thompson. And for audiology, Zoe Kutsia. The class medal awarded for the best clinical performance at the end of the final year in the following professional courses, provided a result of 75% or above has been obtained in each case. For speech language pathology, Tessa Jenkins. And for audiology, Shakil Shiraz. Thank you. The next class medals are for occupational therapy, to be handed out by Professor Helen Buchanan. The fourth year class medal, a class medal awarded for the best performance in the fourth year, provided an average of 75% or above is obtained, Joanna Nelson. The class medal to be awarded for top performance in the following clusters, provided an average of 75% or above is obtained. So the foundation for theory for OT Practice 1 and occupational therapy and research practice management is Joanna Nelson. The foundation theory for OT Practice 1 and Practice 2 is Joanna Nelson. And the OT theory and practice in physical health, theory and practice in mental health, and occupational therapy practice and service learning, Tessa Stevenson. The class medals for physiotherapy, presented by Professor Neri Naidu. The fourth year class medal to be awarded for the best performance in fourth year, provided an average of 75% or above is obtained, Megan Preston. The class medal to be awarded at the end of final year in the following professional courses, provided 75% or above has been obtained. These are for clinical physiotherapy, becoming a rehabilitation professional, applied physiotherapy, research methods, and biostatistics. I'm going to read out the full list. Deborah DuPont, Megan Preston, Tamira Selinda, Jacqueline Egbrink, Megan Preston again, Shamika de Jong, Sipuleme Zulu, Georgina Baker, Emma Stakel, and Jamie Abbott. Congratulations. Deborah, come up first. Oh, that's fine. Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah, you can hold those, thanks. All right, and the last batch of medals is for the MBChB program. Dr. Petula Wickham will be presenting those. The final year class medals for best performance in psychiatry, Nilafar Hassan. For obstetrics and gynecology, Zahida Razak. For medicine and the subspecialties, Joshua Goldberg and Peter Walker. For surgery, Nicola Embling. For pediatrics and child health, Shalom Brown. And for family medicine and palliative medicine, Huda Abrams. And now we're on to the general prizes, which are the faculty prizes, and I'm going to ask Professor Dandara to come up and present those. So colleagues, these are very special prizes, and we've made some changes to these prizes this year. In prior years, gold medals have only been awarded to the MBChB class. We now have gold medals awarded to every program, and the Dean's Prize is in the top overall student and not the top MBChB student. So we're really looking forward to this progress as we move forward. So the Foreman Prize, which is really an incredibly important prize, is for the best undergraduate student who's made a special contribution to student affairs. And the name in your program is actually for the student who will be awarded that early next year in MBChB. But in fact, the student who has been awarded it this year is an occupational therapy student, Sinelizwe Baby Somdaka. We're really excited. It's the first time that the prize, in a while, that the prize has been won by a program other than MBChB. So congratulations to Sinelizwe. All right, the Barnard Fuller Prize will come up shortly, but the gold medal per program, the overall top performing student for the duration of their studies, occupational therapy, these are now the gold medals. Occupational therapy, Joanna Nelson. Yeah. For physiotherapy, Megan Preston. For speech language pathology, Jenna Thompson. For audiology, Zoe Kutsia. And for MBChB, Nicole Wenzel. All right, and then the Barnard Fuller Prize, which is the best student qualifying for MBChB with first class honors, is Nicole Wenzel. And the final prize, the Dean's Prize, is for the overall top final year student in the undergraduate program for the duration of their studies. And that goes this year, for the first time ever, to a non-MBChB student, occupational therapy, Joanna Nelson. Thank you so much to the prize winners. Let's give them all a huge round of applause again. We're now going to hand over to our quartet, our faculty orchestra quartet, who are going to be playing us a musical item. And I think we have a microphone coming to them just to announce. The microphone is there, thank you. And I'm going to hand over to them to announce what they will be playing for us, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Reed, and I'm Chair of Primary Healthcare here. I play in the faculty orchestra, and the four of us are drawn from that. I want you to know who they are. So on my right on flute is Amy Stessel, who's going into final year MBChB next year. On the cello is Yejin Jiang, who's going into fifth year MBChB. And on viola is Debbie Van Sale, and we soar along with the strings in the faculty orchestra every Tuesday evening. We're going to play one movement called an intermezzo from by Mendelssohn, which is written for 4 strings, but we think it sounds rather nice with a flute.
Thank you so very much. That was really wonderful. Thank you. We now move to the oath-taking part of the ceremony. And I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, who's going to speak to the students in particular. Aisha Toya, we're very delighted to have you here with us today, Aisha, is a 25-year-old aspiring clinical psychologist who's currently a student registered counselor, completing a B-Psych equivalent honors in psychology. After completion of the practicum in July 2023, Aisha will be able to write the National Board exam with the Health Professions Council of South Africa and qualify as a registered counsellor. She's passionate about mental health accessibility, working with dysfunctional family systems, and advocating for inclusivity within marginalized communities. And we're delighted that she's going to be addressing the students today ahead of their oath-taking. Thank you, Aisha.
To the esteemed Dean, members of the Health Sciences faculty, honored graduates, family and friends, I greet you with a universal greeting of peace. My name is Aisha, and what a privilege to be here this morning at this momentous occasion at the prestigious University of Cape Town. We are gathered today to reaffirm our commitment to the health care profession and the ethical principles it upholds. There is a difference between a human being and being human. Let me take you back 11 years ago when I was met with a car accident and sustained spinal injuries which left me wheelchair-bound. The first communication and encounter with the attending doctor was devastating, not because of the diagnosis, but the callous and cold manner in which he delivered his findings. As a 14-year-old without the presence of my parents, the doctor said, "You will never walk again." The immediate feeling of hopelessness engulfed me, with a bleak future in sight. During my 3 months in the private rehabilitation center following the accident, the spinal specialist who treated me showed very little compassion, hardly smiling or asking how I am. This led to a continued feeling of desolation and made the journey of being newly disabled even more challenging. Another vivid memory is that of the head nurse reprimanding and showing outright hostility towards numerous friends and families that would frequently visit during the holiday period that I was in rehab. The lack of emotional support and understanding for a teenager post-traumatic experience was disheartening. The physiotherapy team were amazing and installed a renewed confidence and hope in accepting my limitations. Through the strenuous exercises and learning how to adapt to my new life of being paralyzed, the team provided memorable moments of joy and laughter. So 3 years later, I attended a state rehabilitation to further strengthen my physical wellness and was welcomed into a warm environment. The healthcare team was attentive, caring, and showed genuine empathy towards my physical and emotional challenges I faced. Now, in comparing the treatment by the medical professionals at the private and state-owned facilities, there was a marked difference in the manner in which they interacted with me. I learned that the location, abundance, or absence of resources do not determine the standard of care, warmth, and compassion given. How you engage and approach a patient makes a remarkable impact on their journey towards recovery and healing. The primary medical model which guides treatment should not supersede our humanity. I said in the beginning that there's a difference between a human being and being human. It is a powerful and humbling experience to know the difference and act upon it. As I look towards the future medical practitioners, I applaud your hard work and dedication to a profession that will require a consistent reminder of the oath you'll be taking shortly. This oath is not only a professional commitment, but should be internalized and embraced as a personal pledge and lifelong journey. When you are true to yourself, the sincerity you show your patients, translates into a trusting relationship. In today's world, the healthcare world has become increasingly complex and challenging. We face new diseases, new technologies, and new ethical dilemmas on a daily basis. We can turn to COVID-19 to reflect on the difficulties and challenges that we encountered during the pandemic. Let us also remember the importance of teamwork and collaboration in the healthcare field. We are not alone in this journey and must work together with our colleagues and other healthcare professionals to provide optimal care for our patients. The pandemic was a testament to this as medical professionals collaborated efficiently and effectively to provide the proper health care, and their sacrifice is admirable. It is in these moments that the principles of the health profession's oath become even more important and necessary. As medical professionals, we must be willing to go beyond the walls of our hospitals and clinics and into the poor communities which are often underserved. These communities need our attention and care, and it is our duty to provide it. In serving these communities, we must also be aware of the social and economic barriers that prevent many from accessing quality health care. It is our duty to treat all patients with the dignity and the respect they deserve. We must also remember that behind every medical condition and injury, there's a human being with hopes, struggles, fears, and dreams. In serving humanity, we must always show compassion and empathy in our interactions with patients. So let us take this moment to honor the incredible journey that each and every one of you have undertaken to become a medical professional, and let us renew our commitment to upholding the highest standards of excellence and compassion in everything we do. As you embark on your next phase of your careers, I wish you all the best. May your knowledge and expertise continue to grow, and may you make a positive impact on the world through your work. Congratulations, graduates, and welcome to the noble profession of healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aisha. That was an incredible reminder of why we're here today, and a wonderful introduction to the oath that we're going to be taking shortly. So before we do so, we're going to ask our traditional leaders, Chief Mackey, and I'm going to ask Chief Mackey, who has assisted us in the past, and so a reminder that representing the communities we serve as health professionals, as well as reminding us of the legacy of First Nations and Indigenous knowledge systems at the foot of the mountain behind us that many of you hopefully know is called the Hurikwacho, the mountain in the sea. And in the place of stars, where our health sciences campus sits, we ask Chief Mackey to come forward and bless the qualifiers ahead of pledging their oath.
Gangans, Mire, thank you, how are you? The ancient Aboriginal, Indigenous sovereign nation language. Thank you for being here. Dr. Karen Beck, thank you so much. Professor Lionel Green-Thompson, thank you so much. Professor Colette Dandara, thank you so much for opening your hearts and the institution, for welcoming us here. It's the second time. Last year, the 10th of December, the Friday, 3 ceremonies, and we were here. People, let us give thanks and praise. Sakonisa as kunse. Gangan chi abu che chui koab. Sidaitsi. Sidaitsi is our Great Spirit Creator, and we're saying thank you to the Great Spirit Creator. Sacred is thy name. And yes, we will always be thankful. Always. And yes, Sui Koab, the Great Spirit Creator of rain and thunder and life. We are sacred, created, spiritual beings. We must remember that. We must remind ourselves of that. And therefore we have a very ancient way of saying that. And I want the leaders to actually repeat then after me as I say this word. Atua tama. Kamski. Atua tama. Kamski. It simply means the sacred breath of life. In and out is involuntary, the wisdom of the Great Spirit Creator. And so I can only start with sacredness and holiness. People, this place, as I look across from Hurikago, the mountain of the sea, from Cape Point up to Llandudno, the geographers call it the Cape Fold Mountains. It's a sacred mountain. More ancient than the Himalayas. Yes, people, we are filled by that spirituality. This place is built on a sacred site, but it's for a good purpose. It's for educating. It's for informing. It's for teaching. Teaching a sacred endeavor. Kaise gangans, I must say to the parents, the family, this saying, Kaise gangans, it's when silence is the deepest form of communication. And there's nothing else to say but simply Kaise gangans. And we say that to UCT Kaise gangans as a form of not being able to express in human language what the Spirit is, the manifest of the Spirit. And to the parents, it is a sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice of the Spirit first and then the love and the support. I'm very grateful, I'm very thankful. And when I look at the graduation, it takes me back to university of nearly 30 years of being actively, intimately involved with universities. Even establishing a labor movement at university and coming to this place as well. But being here, people, and Prof, Doctor, it so beautifully spoke about this place of the stars, the sacred place, the desecration, transgression, the violation of sanctity, people. We must begin to understand this. As you go forth, you've been studying, you've been opening books, you've been reading, you've been reflecting, you've been philosophizing all about these things. But then it comes down to your spirit. What are you going to do? The oath-taking is mind understanding. Most important, it's very, very sacred. Why? You give your word, your oath, that you will serve your fellow sacred created human beings. There can be no bigger service than that. With distinction, with honor, with humility, with love. You've given that. Remember the three things: the oath, the curse, and the blessing. You cannot go from the oath, jump across the curse. We carry the curse with us. But then with the oath-taking, we break that curse. And the breaking of that curse brings forth the blessing. So let your work be blessed. Never ever forget that. You're dealing with sacred, created human beings like yourself. Understand that your essence is spirit first and foremost. It's undeniable, it's irrefutable. We may not argue that, otherwise it's blasphemy. Then I remember What one of the people said in Menenberg, the churches when I stayed there, before the peacemakers, many ages ago, slimmer raak, wys jou geleerder hoe verkeerder. Now, wisdom must be the application of the Spirit to what you've learned. It's sacred. When you touch another human being, the agony, we have a word. It's there on my staff. It's an agonized cry of agony. You are there to relieve, to bring comfort, to give hope. The most basic spiritual virtue is hope. Love demands something. Charity demands something, but hope. Life without hope. Hopelessness. And people self-murder themselves. It's not suicide. It's self-murder. Why? There's no hope ultimately. So I'm bringing you this message from our venerable ancestors, Great Spirit Creator, and then my fellow nation people. People, understand this. The word must go out. This is our venerable ancestors' sacred heritage land, blood ground, spiritual home. None but us can say that. Dare say it. In the face of denial. But there must be acceptance. Because we move with a spirit of humility, a spirit of sacred createdness. This is what drives us. This is what motivates us. And our prayer, it's for you to never ever forget it. Why? This is a special place. Every step that you took was sacred, because this is most sacred. The land is sacred, but there are sacred places like this space here, a sacred site. You have to honor your spirit. You have to honor the Great Spirit Creator by serving, distinction, humility, humbleness, thankfulness, gratefulness. It will be difficult. Will be difficult. The Buddha says life is difficult. But the Buddha never says life is complex. Complex becomes an excuse. Life is difficult. But it is what it is, people. But yes, we can make a difference. The Spirit will allow you to invoke this knowledge, this wisdom that you have, with a spirit of sacredness. You yourself are sacred, spirit-created human beings. Let that be the way forward. Let that be the way in which you serve. And let money never ever be the stumbling block for you to stop your service and people then passing away. How are you going to explain the great judgment? The honor is yours. Carry that spirit with you. Carry that spirit with you. Sacred, created human beings, all of us. And atua tama kamske means the sacred breath. In and out, in and out. So when this ancient nation speaks of atua tama kamske, it connects with all of us. The sacred breath of life. In and out, in and out. And it's involuntary. Let us never ever forget that. Thank you so much for listening to us, for this ancient voice, for showing us that respect, that acceptance. Thank you.
A message from the Dean, Professor Lionel Green Thompson, as we're about to take the oath. Qualifying as a health professional is the culmination of many years of struggle, punctuated by moments in which the overcoming of barriers represents a significant victory. So much of the story of victory and defeat, of joy and sorrow, has been about the marks that you got. the moment those marks were not sufficient for you to progress to the next phase, or that you missed a distinction by a few marks. Essentially, the marks became the metric for the things that you have learnt. Today, as you take this oath, you become more than the sum of that knowledge represented in your marks. As you take this oath, you see the vulnerable who will be touched by you, and if you let them, will touch your souls beyond the things that you know. Take this oath in the spirit of a vulnerable servant to the vulnerable. Promise them that you will take care of yourself so that you can take care of them. And when your facts run out, promise that you will seek knowledge afresh and bring them new knowings to heal them. Today I am attending the graduation of my son. I'm sorry that I am not with you. Know that as he graduates, I see you in him. Sawubona, I see you. And so now as we prepare ourselves to take the oath, quoting from the HBCSA Ethical Guidelines Preamble, the term profession means a dedication, a promise, or commitment publicly made. Some of you may never have taken an oath before, or made anything other than a pinky promise. To be a good healthcare practitioner requires a lifelong commitment to sound professional and ethical practices, and an overriding dedication to the interests of one's fellow human beings and society. As I've said to you as we've started the years before, that what makes you different from other graduates who may be sitting in this hall as you sit here in a few months' time to receive your graduation is that receiving your degree is about looking back and celebrating what you have achieved. Today, it's about looking forward and the promise you make to the rest of your life as a career as a health professional. This oath started together with the World Medical Association Geneva Declaration, together with the HBCSA Ethical Guidelines, forms the basis of the UCT oath that you'll be taking shortly. It's what you declare as you enter the profession. You're forward-looking. Importantly, since the recent launch of the Code Red for Humanity IPCC assessment report on climate change, and last year's WHO COP26 special report on climate change and health, the UCT Faculty of Health Sciences oath reflects a commitment to health of the environment since 2021. You will only be the second qualifiers who will be taking the oath, including a commitment to the health of our planet. I'm going to ask you to stand in a moment. I'm going to ask you to take a moment to ready yourself for this important commitment you're about to pledge before witnesses. Academics and teachers will join you in recommitting ourselves to the oath as we welcome you as colleagues to the profession. So we're going to ask you now, parents, please remain seating, parents and guests. I'm going to ask Aisha to come to her place here, and I'm going to ask each of our traditional leaders to receive your oath. You're not committing to us. We are all committing to Aisha and to the traditional leaders as representatives of the community to whom we make this oath. So I'm going to ask you all to please stand now. You can come and stand here. That's fine. That's fine. So please remember that this is to whom you are committing this oath, as representatives of the communities that you will serve going forward. I'm going to say each line, and I'll ask you to repeat after me. When I say my name, please do not repeat my name, but insert your name. Take a deep breath, ready yourselves. I, Karen Begg, solemnly pledge to serve humanity. My most important considerations will be the health of patients, the health of their communities, and the health of the environment. I will not permit considerations of age, gender, race, religion, ethnic origin, sexual orientation, disease, disability, or any other factor to adversely affect the care I give to patients. I will uphold human rights and civil liberties to advance health, even under threat. I will engage patients and colleagues as partners in healthcare. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. I will respect the confidentiality of patients, present or past, living or deceased. I will value research and will be guided in its conduct by the highest ethical standards. I commit myself to lifelong learning. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Welcome to the professions. You may be seated, and I would like you now to take the pen that we provided you with and to sign. You're signing in front of witnesses this oath that you have just professed.
Great.
Thanks. And this brings us to the end of this important ceremony. We are delighted to have celebrated with those who've achieved, and indeed all of you have achieved who's sitting here today. But this was most important, the commitment to those whom you'll be serving into the future. So we wish to thank you all for attending and thank the undergrad academic governance and operations teams for managing to make the arrangements for the ceremony amidst us signing off 2,500 students this week in terms of their final results. If they can just step forward and we can say a huge congratulations to them. To those at the back, to those managing all of the complex technology, we thank you too. To the disability team, we thank you for managing the arrangements of a number of parents and guests who arrived and who needed assistance. We thank you too. I'm just going to ask one of the class reps, Sabira Pandey, just to make a quick announcement before I explain how we're going to exit.
Morning. I will be more than 5 minutes. On behalf of the final year class reps, I'd like to congratulate all my fellow colleagues. Behind every person sitting here today is a community that got us here, and we thank all of you, and we thank our Almighty for that. But ultimately, class of 2022, it is you that showed up every day. It is you that put in the late nights. It's you that put in the long hours. It is you who shed all those tears before EOB. And it is you that grinded to this moment, so be proud of that alone. Wherever you are placed next year, make the most of it. There are pros and cons to every placement, but regardless of where you are going, you are on the right track to becoming the best version of yourself, and immense growth is upon you. Take the bull by the horns, ride the wave, and remember that diamonds are made under pressure. If there's one thing this degree has taught us, it's resilience. We can sink or swim, we can adapt and overcome our challenges, or we can remain the same. The choice is always yours. By you sitting here today, already you demonstrate the great resilience that you have within yourself. Be present in the moment, remind yourself that you are worthy, and in the moments where you doubt whether you can keep going, look back and look at how far you've already come. Now, onto some admin things. Please can the final year classes proceed to the jammy steps where we will be taking our class photos. For the PPS, those still needing to get PPS scrubs, they will also be doing their handout after the photos. I'm sorry, this is for the final MBChB class. And then Lisa Hayden will also be handing out her name badges somewhere along the steps after the oath taking. If you are still needing to collect any Exodus scrubs, staplers, tourniquet, mugs, diaries, or badge reels, the deadline is technically passed, but if you find me, maybe I can still help you. Thank you.
So thank you all for attending, and we trust that, that you've enjoyed the ceremony and been blessed by the ceremony. We wish you well. The procession will exit down the middle. We'll ask you to stand, whereafter all of you may exit. Students, qualifiers, graduands, you'll be graduates after March. Please return your gown before you depart from campus. And so as we end, we wish you strength and courage as you forge the path ahead. May you listen with compassion, walk with humility, and act with justice. We're just going to say a quick thank you to our special guests and our community members who have come especially for today. And so just a huge thank you to you, Aisha, for your incredible words and wisdom that's shared with us. I'm going to ask the procession to stand and the guests to stand, and we shall exit. If all of you can stand.